There is a particular kind of competence that takes decades to look effortless, and it almost never belongs to someone running a single venture. It belongs to the person running 3 or 4 at once, each one demanding a completely different temperament, who has somehow trained herself to move between all of them without the seams showing. Sierra Edoh runs a bakery. She runs a plus-size clothing line. She models for both, and for herself, and for a handful of international brands who found her independently of either business. Most people spend a career discovering which one thing they are good at. Sierra Edoh appears to have skipped that discovery phase entirely and decided, somewhere along the way, that the question was never which one. It was how many, simultaneously, and how well. Welcome back to Curve Walk Studio, the plus-size model and curvy model wiki biography channel, home of the plus-size curvy women documentary playlist and the Curve Files on Spotify. 2 terms anchor every profile this archive builds. Big Beautiful Woman, BBW, Supersize Big Beautiful Woman, SSBBW, both describe genuine, distinct categories inside the full-figured plus-size model world, and Sierra Edoh occupies both with the unhurried, business-like steadiness of a woman who built her entire public identity around the principle that competence does not require an audience's permission to expand. Her IG handle is Sierra Edoh, 40 years old, born the 27th of May, a Gemini, which the more astrologically inclined corner of her audience will note with some satisfaction, because the twins are the precise emblem of a woman holding 2, sometimes 3, creative identities inside one calendar without letting any of them eclipse the others. 154 posts, 331,000 followers, 257 accounts followed back. Her TikTok carries a further 134,000 followers under the same handle. A backup Instagram, Sierra_Edoh 2, exists for redundancy. A Snapchat presence extends the architecture further still. She is followed by +_African_Queens, the curatorial authority inside the African plus-size creator constellation that has carried several names into this Curve Walk Studio plus-size model wiki biography archive before her. Edoh Girl. That is how she introduces herself, and the specificity matters considerably more than it might first appear. Where is Sierra Edoh from? And why does the Edoh identity sit at the foundation of everything visible on her platform? Edo State, in southern Nigeria, carries one of the most architecturally and artistically significant histories on the entire African continent. The historic Benin Kingdom, whose bronze castings remain among the most technically accomplished metalwork produced anywhere in the pre-colonial world, originated from this exact region. Sierra Edoh did not invent her relationship to craft and precision. She inherited a cultural environment where producing something exacting, something built to outlast its maker, was simply the ambient standard. A clothing line and a bakery are different mediums than bronze, but the underlying discipline, the insistence that what you make should hold its shape under scrutiny, is the same inheritance wearing different clothing. What is the cozy crumb? And why does a bakery sit alongside a fashion platform without either one diminishing the other? The cozy crumb underscoring is Sierra's bakery business, the kind of venture most fashion-forward plus-size model creators in this archive would treat as a separate identity entirely, managed under a separate name with no visible connection to the modeling content. Sierra Edoh does the opposite. She lets both exist on the same public record, unconcerned with whether a follower who arrived for a dress photograph stays for a photograph of bread, or vice versa. That refusal to compartmentalize is itself a quietly significant creative position. The plus-size and full-figured space has historically asked its creators to specialize, to occupy one identifiable lane the algorithm can categorize cleanly. Sierra Edoh occupies several lanes simultaneously, and trusts her audience to follow the whole person rather than a curated fragment of her. What is curve_styles? And what does building an actual clothing line, rather than simply modeling for one, change about the commercial architecture of this plus-size model platform? Curve_styles is Sierra's own plus-size clothing label, which places her in a structurally different category from almost every creator this Curve Walk Studio plus-size curvy women documentary archive has previously profiled. Most plus-size fashion model creators wear clothing other people designed and are compensated for the visibility they provide a brand. Edoh designs the clothing herself, models it herself, and sells it directly to a community she has spent years building. The dresses and jeans highlights at the top of her profile are not simply lookbook content. They are product photography for a business she owns outright. Her brand affiliations with Curvy Africa Clothing and plus-size_Sakarder USA extend that commercial reach internationally, positioning Edoh at the intersection of African plus-size fashion manufacturing and the broader global full-figured retail conversation simultaneously. What does it mean that Edoh is 40 years old? And why does that specific decade function as a creative credential rather than a complication inside the plus-size and curvy model space? She represents something this archive has documented before, but rarely with this particular combination of evidence behind it. The natural older woman over 40 who is not transitioning into a fashion career late but consolidating one she had already been quietly assembling for years. The search behavior around this demographic is more layered than most analysts assume. Natural older women over 40 arrive at this kind of content through different pathways than natural older women over 50. And both groups arrive through different pathways again than natural older women over 60, yet all three cohorts consistently respond to the same underlying quality once they find it. Steadiness. Evidence of a life actually lived rather than performed. Edoh, at 40, with a bakery, a clothing line, and a modeling presence all operating under her own name simultaneously, offers exactly that evidence in triplicate. If you want a cultural touchstone for what that particular kind of multi-hyphenate, unapologetically full-figured confidence looked like before social media existed to document it, go back to New York City in the early 1970s. Bette Midler began performing in small venues, built a reputation on a presence the mainstream entertainment industry had not designed a category for, and refused, across the decades that followed, to specialize narrowly. Singer, actress, producer, founder of a major civic restoration nonprofit, Bette Midler is, by any reasonable accounting, a natural older woman over 60 now, and the audiences who grew up watching her build several careers under one name recognize the exact pattern Edoh is running in Nigeria half a century later. Refuse the single lane. Build several. Let them reinforce each other. Now the arithmetic. Because this Curve Walk Studio plus-size model and curvy model wiki biography archive exists to place the numbers at the center of the story rather than leaving them as background texture. 6 recent uploads. 655,000 views. 625,000. 431,000. 396,000. 394,000. 328,000. Combined, 2,829,000 views against 331,000 followers, a combined ratio of 8.5 to 1. What makes the Edoh signature genuinely distinct inside this archive is not the combined figure. It is the band those 6 numbers occupy. The highest individual upload reaches 1.98 times her following. The lowest reaches 0.99 times, essentially matching her audience exactly. Every single recent upload sits inside that narrow corridor, between roughly matching her following and nearly doubling it. No canyon. No singular eruption dwarfing everything around it. The tightest, most consistent performance band this archive has documented across any plus-size model profile to date. 6 uploads. 6 results that land within a single, narrow, dependable range. That consistency is its own kind of statement. A creator whose content swings wildly between a 6,000 view floor and a 2 million view ceiling, as several profiles in this archive have shown, is building toward a peak. A creator whose 6 most recent uploads all land within a band this narrow has already arrived somewhere, and is simply maintaining it. Reliability of that specific kind in a creator economy obsessed with the unpredictable spike, is rare enough to constitute its own credential. A photograph from the curve_styles dress line has been circulating across Curve Walk Studio's own community threads this week, reposted with a caption asking where the bakery's location is, which tells you something about how seamlessly her two businesses have merged inside her audience's understanding of who she actually is. Where does the Edoh audience actually live? And what does the geographic picture reveal about a creator operating simultaneously inside African and international plus-size fashion markets? Nigeria anchors the primary audience, concentrated around Edo State and the broader southern Nigerian fashion and food entrepreneurship community that has watched Sierra build both businesses from the ground rather than arrive with external investment behind her. The United States follows closely, driven by her plus-size_Sakarder USA brand affiliation and the broader African diaspora audience that actively searches for plus-size model biography content with genuine continental roots. The United Kingdom and Germany complete a top for that mirrors the wider geographic pattern this Curve Walk Studio plus-size model and curvy model wiki biography archive consistently documents, both markets showing the sustained, above-average watch durations that full-figured lifestyle content reliably produces across European audiences. A question worth sitting with. Sierra Edoh built the narrowest, most consistent performance band this archive has measured, across two businesses and two platforms simultaneously, without a single viral eruption anywhere in the visible record. Does that kind of steady, multi-venture consistency represent a more commercially durable plus-size model architecture than the singular cultural flashpoints this archive has documented elsewhere, the kind that arrive once and reshape an entire platform overnight? Leave your honest read below. Arlette Jeanett, arlenett_, the 31-year-old plus-size model whose dual-platform presence across Instagram and TikTok this archive recently profiled, built her own audience through unforced lightness rather than business infrastructure. Two creators, roughly a decade apart in age, both operating across multiple platforms, reaching their respective audiences through entirely different architectures, one through breezy ease, one through entrepreneurial steadiness. Watch the Arlette Jeanett biography in the Curve Walk Studio plus-size curvy women documentary playlist directly after this one, and decide which approach you think builds the more durable career across an entire decade rather than a single viral season. 40 years old. Edo State, Nigeria. A bakery. A clothing line. 2 Instagram accounts, a Snapchat, and 134,000 more followers on TikTok. A full-figured BBW and SSBBW plus-size model who never needed a single lane, because she had already proven she could run several at once. Subscribe to Curve Walk Studio for more plus-size model and curvy model wiki biography profiles. The Curve Files is on Spotify. Tell us who is next.